In this lecture, we are going to talk about some non-destructive array methods which has been introduced in ES 2023. So previously in this section, we have learned about three methods: the sort method, the reverse method, and the splice method. Now, there we also learned that whenever we use these methods on an array, it basically modifies the original array. It changes the original array. Now, when working in a real world project, you might not want to change the original array. You might want to create a copy of the original array and perform operations on that copy if the operation can modify the original array. So for example, let's say if I want to sort this names array, in this names array, if you see, I have some string values and they are not sorted. So let's say if I want to sort this names array, if I go ahead and call the sort method, and here if you see, I'm logging the original array. So currently when we have logged this original array, you can see they are not sorted. The first element is John, second element is Mark, and so on. But now if I go ahead and save the changes, you will see that the original array has been modified. The order in the original array has changed. So basically this sort method, it has updated the original array. It has changed the original array. And this is the behavior of sort method, reverse method, and splice method. Now one thing which we can do to avoid modifying the original array is we can create a copy of the original array, and for that let me create a variable. I'll call it as copy, and to create the copy of the, let's say, names array, what we can do is on the names array we can simply call slice method without passing any argument. So we have learned that when we don't pass any argument to the slice method, it basically returns us the copy of the array on which we have called it. Okay, and now we can perform the sort operation on that copy. And now if I go ahead and if I log the original array, which is the names array, and the copy array, you will see that when we are logging the copy array, it is sorted, but it has not modified the original array. So original array is as it is. This is one way. Or what we can do is in ES 2023, JavaScript team has released a counterpart for these methods. So for example, in ES 2023, we have two sorted method, we have two reversed method, and we have two spliced method. And all these three methods works in same way as their counterparts. The only difference is they do not modify the original array. Instead, they return us a new array. So this two sorted, it will return us a new array from the original array, and in that new array we will have sorted data. In the same way, this two reversed, it will return us a new array. It will not update the original array, and two spliced also, it will return us a new array. So here what we can do now is I do not need to create a copy explicitly. What I can do is on the names array, I can simply call to sorted, and this to sorted method, it is going to return me a new array. Let me create a variable and let me call it as sorted. Okay, and let me log the sorted array, and let's also log the original array, which is this names array. If I save the changes, you will see that when we are logging sorted, it is logging a sorted array, but this to sorted method, it has not modified the original array, this names array. So that's why when we are logging the names array, it is logging it as it is. But this to sorted has sorted the array, and it has returned us a new sorted array from the original array. In the same way, you can also use to reversed. So it works just like reverse method, but it does not modify the original array. So now this to reversed, it is going to return us a new array where each element of the array will be reversed. So if I save the changes now, you see the elements of the array are reversed. The first element has become the last element, and the last element has become the first element, but it has not modified the original array. And then in the same way, we can also use to spliced. So let's say we want to delete the first element, and we want to delete the element at index 1, and let's say we want to delete two elements. If I save the changes, you will see that these two elements are deleted. So we do not have Mark and Arun in this array, which this two spliced has returned, but it has not modified the original array. The original array is still intact. It is as it is. So all these three methods, two sorted, two reversed, and two spliced, they work in the same way like their original counterpart. The only difference is they do not modify the original array. Instead, they return us a new array with the updated data. The two sorted method will return us a new array with the sorted data. The two reversed method, it will return us a new array with the reversed data, and two spliced will return us new array with extracted data. These methods do not modify the original array. Now, before wrapping up this lecture, I also want to talk about two new array methods which has been introduced in ES 2022. So these three methods, it has been introduced in ES 2023. And in ES 2022, there were two methods which were introduced, and that was find last. This is an array method, and find last index. Now this find last method, it is similar to find method. The only difference is find method returns us the first matching element from an array which satisfies a given condition. So for example, let's call the find method on the names array. Okay, and here we need to pass a callback function. And inside this callback function, we are going to receive the element. So here, inside this callback function body, we are going to write a condition and we are going to return it. And let's say the condition is element dot length, it is equal to 4. So here the find method will return us the first matching element which satisfies this condition in this names array. Let me go ahead and let me store it in a variable. Let me call it as element. And if I go ahead and if I log this element, and if I save the changes, you will see John has been returned because John is the first element which satisfies this condition. So the find method returns us the first matching element which satisfies a condition. And in the same way, we also have find index method, which returns us the index of the first element from an array which satisfies the condition. In this case, this find index method will return us the index of this element John, and the index of this element is John is 0. So that has been returned here. So just like find method and find index method, there are two more methods which has been introduced in ES 2022, and that is find last. This find last, it will return you the last element from the array which satisfies a condition. So if I save the changes here, the last element from the array which has the length 4. So here this element has length 5, this element has length 3, this also has 5. So this is the last element in the array which will satisfy this condition, and that has been returned by this find last method. And in the same way, if we use find last index, it will return us the index of the element, the last element, which will satisfy this condition. If I save the changes, it has returned us the index of this element. This is the last element which is satisfying this condition. So index of that element has been returned. So this is find last and find last index. This is all I wanted to cover in this lecture. If you have any questions from this lecture, then feel free to ask it. Thank you for listening and have a great day.